Hi, Gene Basler. I'm Gene Basler and I'm in Houston, Texas. And let's take a look at this willow oak. This is a little bit outside the ordinary, but we do very routinely kind of assess risk with trees. So let's take a look at this one. All right, so this willow oak has this tight V crotch. Those are inherently structurally weak. And we speak in terms of annual growth ring pushing against the two, making it weaker. But this is an example of this in action. Okay? So I'm going to follow you up. I'm going to ask you to ignore this ingrown branch here and direct your attention above to this. Here is a spot where, in the past, these two leaders were kissing each other and the callus was up against it. Okay? This is a very shady part of the tree, so it's hard for me to focus, but you can see where these two were up against each other and have now been separated by roughly 6 inches right there. This has been caused by this lower one, which is kind of grown out, and this biomass here, the two massive callus tissue masses have pushed against each other and caused this split to increase by at least 6 inches at this point here. So that increases the pressure, as you know from your Arboriculture 101 book, that tree wood has what we call tension wood on the upside and compression wood on the downside. That increases pressure here at this tight V crotch. I also want to point out some previous bases from some previous fruiting structures. There's a couple of more also here and here that were collected from here once the jasmine was pulled away. But I digress. Back to this. So this is a prime candidate for some hardware, because on one hand, we could eliminate this risk completely by removing this leader. Okay, and let's remember that this tree does have a bit of a lean. This is the side of the house here, so it's got a significant lean already. And so completely eliminate the risk by removing this leader completely. And then of course, we're already on a fertilization regime to keep these trees healthy, and more than anything, to keep their root systems firmly anchored. But the other alternative, and I highly recommend this, is to put some braces in here at the base and at least one support cable aloft. Now, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge because the tree comes up this way and then it twists and does a 90-degree angle, and the two leaders are separate from each other on this plane at this point and on this plane. So there's a 90-degree twist here as it candy canes its way counterclockwise up. So that's going to present a challenge, but we do need to put a minimum of 2 braces in at the base, and then I would suggest a minimum of 2 cables, the upper of which would be roughly two-thirds of the distance, in accordance with the standard from the bifurcation to the crown, the lower of which would be some, I don't know, I would leave that up to the discretion of the climber to determine the exact placement of the second one. The other thing I want to point out, and I don't want to be less than thorough here in this assessment here, is take a look at the overall crown of this tree and see that if we were to choose this, more drastic option, which would be removing the entire leader, the customer would lose some of this low-end shade, but they still have a fairly significant layer of established shade foliage on the whorl above, the layer above. And so I think it would be as drastic a loss as it would be in another situation, like where the double-leadered tree represents half of the entire crown density. So this would be a manageable option. And so that's all I have to say about that. I just want to point out, I'll give you a nice close-up of these defects here. I also want to show you that previously resided a bee hive in there that's been taken care of in the past, and there is what appears to be some spray foam in there. and then this upper one. So I'll leave you with that, and that'll help inform the way we deal with this tree. Super nice tree. Info at wideworldoftrees.com, and don't forget my voicemail hotline, which is 262. I don't know why I can't remember this thing. 262-724-6701. Thank you.